Well, welcome back, guys. Again, we're trying to repeat the same thing, but in a different way. What else to say?
We want to talk a bit about the podcast itself, Sink or Swim podcast, what it's about, what it represents, what we're trying to do with it, and the whole idea, even behind the name itself, because the name gives the meaning behind what we're trying to do. So, sink or swim, it's a phrase usually. It represents this philosophy of whatever it is that you're going through, whatever that is you find yourself in. How do you deal with it? Is the situation overpowering you, or are you overpowering the situation? So when you're sinking, you are drowning in it. So you're not being able to keep your head above water and keep going. And if you are swimming, then you are finding clarity in whatever it is that is happening. So you are moving up the scale from confusion to a bit more clarity, and then with clarity comes the ability then to be able to kind of find a solution to the problem itself. What's your take on it?
I was thinking about since we were like planning what we're gonna talk about. I was like, I like because the day you guys came up with the whole thing, the whole name, it made me think of one incident actually. But mind before we get there, there's something from Kumar now. Ukuthi we know ukuthi it's July, and there was the spread. No, listen, I have to speak to you about this. Go over the day when was it? Saturday last time. Sifika endlini yakho. First time for a long time. Because every time you call it winter, you'll be thinking, it's winter. But nah, I don't even, because we're in Durban, so it's not little, we have that pleasure now.
Right, yeah.
No, there's this way, we have this privilege of our weather is dope. And then, we didn't speak about this, but for the first time, because it took me, slept late, firstly, per usual, and then it took me for like 2 hours to find comfort. And then it hit me, I said, it's really winter. It's great to say. And this weekend I'm going to
Pete.
No, in Pete. Going fair.
Yeah.
To the Bundus. And now I'm thinking, yeah,
You're not used to the cold, man.
No, I know, bro. Anything that's cold, I don't like anything. But the crazy thing, I prefer winter than the summer. For some reason, because the summer it's a bit annoying. When you cold, it's scary because man, you're thinking you're gonna die. But man, the summer, it's a bit annoying. It's like mosquito and whatnot, just gets annoying. Man, I was like, okay. But I was thinking, Emakaya. The last time I went there, so in the rituals. But I had, because it was winter, for some reason, every time 70 has to happen, the car always has to be in winter. For some reason, it's like, it's something extremely ritual. And when you get there, different types of family members, which gets interesting. Like every time I go home, it's like it's something I have to experience. Same family members, but treating you in a different way, which is very tricky sometimes to deal with if you're not aware. And then on top of that, we have 3 blankets on top. You see the ingo. And then when you wake up, it's saying after move waxing with notes. Well, like, hold up. But now you're not part. So I'm thinking a lot of when I, because since we chose, but you got a Joes.
Yeah, I'm getting a
For how long?
4 years.
4 years. Was it like CBD?
Yeah. No, it wasn't CBD. It wasn't CBD. I wasn't staying in town. It was very far out of town.
Yeah. Is it like away from the coldness? Because apparently, Josie, it's even freezing then.
Well, my home say it's a Colenso, right? So Colenso, it's very cold. So as me now,
Hey, coffee windows.
It's a misunderstanding a code and trying to get somebody to see things the way that you see things and thinking ukuthi mase senibona izinto ngendlela efanayo then zokwazi ukuba relationship. But mina I believe ukuthi it's the disharmony everywhere per se ukuthi now you're not yabo when if you're not fulfilled in yourself, right? Then you expect someone else to kind of fulfill you and show you ukuthi they love you, so that uzokwazi ukubona ukuthi is it worth staying in the relationship. But mina ngibona ukuthi esikhathini esiningi if wena yourself you're able to fill whatever void that you feel the other person is giving you, whatever it is that uyibonayo ukuthi uyithola kulo munye umuntu, if wena ukwazi ukuyithola yourself, then the other person becomes a means of you further enjoying yourself rather than a means of them kind of filling a gap in you or in like adding something to you or making you love yourself more. Believe the other person.
My interpretation of the sink and swim thing, I thought about the first time how I actually learned how to swim, the actual swimming, because I only learned how to swim like 2013. That's like what 6 years ago.
I don't know.
Because let me tell you, that how I actually learned how to swim, it made me realize it's more of a mental thing than it's an actual ability or skill thing. Because there was this, because I was staying at Glenwood my first year, and we used to go to there was this swimming pool, a bunch of guys, and usually because it was in the beginning of the year, so a bunch of friends used to go there to swim at that pool. But yeah, it's January, but it's week shifts and it's like it's always hot. At first, I wasn't comfortable because when you can't swim and you're with guys that can big stroke when you're there, you get uncomfortable. So I was like, nah, I can't tell you I was bored. I'm sick and tired of when I was bored because I'm always missing out. Because I'm like, okay, let me try. And for me, you see how the techniques that they use to teach people, you would see, I'm on the edge and then flap. That wasn't working for me. That idea wasn't working. It wasn't teaching me anything. Sure. So not one day, in fact, it was a process. Because I would usually go by myself. It was a distance. Because I had that thing, I'm like, I need to know how to swim. Come on, I'm in Devon. What if the shows decide to, do that thing? We're like, let's see what's happening in the season, what I'm going to do. Yeah, well, I was like, let me learn how to swim. And I used to go there every chance I get. And then what made me realize, during that process, I always had that desire to go and touch the deep end, because pool is there's a shallow and a deep end. I used to I want to touch the furthest down there. It doesn't matter how long is it, but man, every time I try, I'm like, my air runs out and I get tired while trying to go down. I'm like, what's happening? At the time, mind you, I still at the time didn't know how to swim, like to even balance and try and float. Nah. Every time I try to float, I'm going down. Sure. So one day I was like, you know what? Because every time I try to go down, I'll close my eyes. The usual, I'll close my eyes, and there's this fear that you get that makes you think, you're in the swimming pool. Bunch of people are in the swimming pool. There is nothing in the swimming pool. Clearly you know. But since it's a mental decision that you have to make, I was like, you know what? I need to go touchdown there. But I need to find ways to hold my breath, firstly, and to calm my fears. Because I'm like, I don't know what I'm scared of, but when you close your eyes, what usually happens, you use your mind to look around. I don't know if you get that. It's like when you close your eyes, you use your mind your mind becomes your eyes.
Sure.
Which, how you actually see, it's what's actually happening in your head. So the picture you create with your mind and the actual picture happening around you, it's usually not the same. Most of the time, it's like, in terms of, even if you speak on relationships, your perspective of the same scenario, of the same incident, whatever you had a fight with your girlfriend, it's not usually the same. And it helps. It's what I've realized, like, because I've been in a couple, in my relationship, and I've been in one for the longest. So that has taught me, see, sometimes the perspective, you could be right, like you could be 100% right, but she also could be right. What's important there is to find, where are we lacking in terms of communication? Maybe your perspective can help me realize it's not because your intent was to help me, but it was just, you were just doing what you used to. Okay, but now let me stick on this. So one day I was like, you know what, I need to touch the bottom.
Sure.
How to do that? Open your eyes. That's the first thing. I was like, let me open my eyes. And a very drastic change happened, even in terms of how I felt. Because while I opened my eyes and tried to force myself to sink in the swimming pool, somehow, some way, my breath wasn't running out fast, because I was actually seeing what's happening around.
Sure.
And that made me say, man, calm down, there's nothing happening. And I could actually find the strength to push myself to go down and touch. And when I was there, mind you, that time I still couldn't swim. And I'm there at the bottom of the pool, at the deep end. I don't know how long the deep end was, but it was quite long. It was quite deep. And while I'm opening my eyes, I'm looking around. And it's interesting when you're at the bottom of the pool and you're opening your eyes, you see somehow the view of the world it's a bit different. It's interesting. And then from there, I forced myself to go up. And when I was down, I walked a bit, and I went into the center of the pool. And then I don't know where my breath was. I was able to hold my breath for some reason. When I went up, and I was from there, that's when I was able to float.
Sure.
Because in my head, I told myself, nah, there's nothing wrong. Because I realized the fear was the unknown, basically.
Sure.
Not knowing what's happening. And then I'm like, I'm not in control, because I don't like not being in control in everything. So I'm like, once I realized, nah, there's nothing. But I did every style I've seen on TV. Or my black thing, yeah. Everything. That day, I was able to float. Without even doing anything, because I was calm, yeah.
Sure.
I don't know.
I have a story as well of like,
yeah.
I have a lot of stories about me sinking.
Yeah.
Because I still don't know how to swim. But
but you had to learn how to swim, though. Why what's causing you now?
I was bored.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a cause. I have tried it. I
When?
mean, I was come to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was come to say.
Where would you try? Is it like, because I won't lie to you, you cannot learn how to swim in the ocean.
So it was, I think I was between the age of 5 and 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm about 3. So me na nile usane.
Shout out. That was our call. Yeah, what's it?
So we decided, we're gonna skip school. Okay, the way that this thing started is Zola. So mind you, we in this the words and it's worse. We come across this damn cool, right? And then the people are swimming inside. Like, go and watch.
Is it like a natural dam or?
Yeah, natural one. So
Hey, bro, that's scary. I can't.
So we see people they swimming there, and then this one guy swims from one end to the other end. On the shades, and we're like, hey, we gotta do this. So we decided we'll come back, when it's empty, and then we can practice without anyone seeing. So then we come back, we skip school, we don't go to school, we bunk school. It was a Friday.
Bunk school. Hey, bro.
So then we all three of us, we go back to this place, and then the plan is this. The person is going to try and swim as further as they can, and then when they drown, we'll help them pull them back, right? So Sanele goes in.
So Hamana basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sanele goes in a distance, starts sinking, pull out. Uzunele goes a bit more further, gap between the distance that Sanele and I mean, I'm the last one, so I'm very competitive, so I'm like, Nina.
Competitive now was
Oh God, I'm like, how about even further than
yeah. That's good.
And I do, but then I start thinking. About the others were able to, if they sing, they still able to come up and they can feel okay, man, I'm going too far. I mean, I've already gone too far.
So was it okay? Was it a mental tiredness or physical tiredness
that caused me to sink?
Yeah,
because I'm wise.
Yeah, and that's what I'm asking, because you what happens is once you, because I remember now I had incidents where I could try to swim, and then once I realized I'm in the center of the pool, I panic. I'm like, I don't know how to swim, and then once you do that, you basically disarm yourself.
I mean, about the natural one, there's like rocks.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's me like unyatela water, and then you go even further. So by the time I say rocks, you have nothing to keep your head above water. So then you start sinking, and then that's when I realized actually I can't swim. I think since all the way, they have to pull me in.
So there was a mental thing.
They have to pull me in. I'm like, and you know, the mother I'm getting because I can't do anything. And then eventually, for that second, I thought I'm gone. And then they pulled me out. And then that's as you were talking about your story on like learning how to swim and fitting that into a relationship. I also had that idea that a relationship should do that as well. They should exercise. They should allow you to have that freedom to go as further as you can in life. And then when you feel like you are drowning, be able to pull you in. They shouldn't try to protect you so much, and they don't allow you to extend that freedom, because that causes another discord, especially in romantic relationship, is that the girl wants security, the guy wants freedom. And what isn't is the opposite is. And actually relationships should encourage freedom. That's why I don't have issues with marriage, but
marriage. Yeah, marriage is something.
Social construct.
Yeah. So here's my question. How much relevance or commonalities exist between a relationship with yourself,
sure,
compared to the relationship you have with others? Do you think there's a correlation there?
It's very important. It's a good question. It's very important.
How much do you think it influences your choices in terms, when we spoke about choices, the choices you make when it comes to the type of people you invite to every type of, it's either partner-wise or friendship-wise or anything. Think does that actually have that correlation?
When you are attracted to someone based on qualities that they have that you feel like you don't have, when you feel like, okay, this person is going to add this to me, go by that, and eventually maybe you'll be able to gain that, to get that from that person. But what's even better is when you see qualities in yourself that the other person has as well, and the boy knows, okay, this is gonna, so why do understand that on that level? So the things I'm usually like, it's cutting this thing, like, it starts from you first, right? So if you're in the position whereby you are not in alignment with yourself, you cannot come into alignment with somebody else. So it's going to be too much of a chaos. It's going to be too much conflict, and you're not going to be able to kind of allow that conflict to exist. Would say the idea that war is not conflict. War is the inability to have conflict. That's what causes people to go to war. When they can't have opposing stances and then be okay with that. Like here's what you see, I have to be right, or this isn't the. And that's the main cause of war. People are always trying to be the one to have clarity, not being able to actually understand it. Conflict can exist. Conflict is everywhere. And there's harmony in that conflict. Into ayiko one. So I think it's illegal, and if when you are disaligned with yourself, you can never come into alignment with somebody else. So it's quite important to when first be able to love yourself. Otherwise, your face will
you know the thing is about loving yourself. What I've realized with once you're busy saying that to people, usually the type of energy I get is like they might, because it sounds like something that's once you reach, it's like I don't know, it's like the energy you see when you speak about loving yourself. Someone could never understand what exactly you mean by that. Yeah. But they will say, yeah, I get it. For some reason, they will act like they understand what you're saying. Because
but in truth, I feel like in truth, people do love themselves. And that's what makes humans selfish. They're always looking out for themselves. But in terms of like understanding what it means to actually love yourself, it's that people don't listen to themselves.
Okay,
let me. Their body.
Let's try and link this. Let's say the from how you picture someone who doesn't love themselves, sure. And then because we're trying to link the relationship you have with yourself and how you actually carry out and make decisions in terms of the type of relationships you want. So, what is it? Someone can what is that thing that they can do to themselves to indicate that they don't love themselves? And then you could actually say, okay, by you doing this, I can understand why you treat people like this. Sure. What is that one thing?
There's a couple of things. What I've been trying to do is I'm trying to kind of understand when I feel like I'm on some awkward situations where I feel like it's listening. Like your emotions tell you a lot about where are you with regarding to something. Yeah. So it's either a personality, something about yourself that you keep apologizing for, or that you feel like you have to change. It also from the way that you feel. How do I feel about land? And then that's the reason why I would say we'll be insecure about something. It starts from that emotion that you feel. So it's listening to that and then figuring out how do I learn to accept this. Start from there, because it's continuously we want to change this and because it's no, this thing should not be here, so let me try and change it. But that's harder to change something that you have not fully understood. And change can't come from the outside. For me to change this meaning, you first need to be able to understand what causes me to feel like this. How do I accept myself in this where I am now, so that I can move forward? Because if you have not accepted yourself where you are now, and you only think you will accept yourself once you figure the level or have been able to master this thing, then what's happening now is that you are being resentful of the person that you are now, and you are not being able to accept the person that you are now. So it's first understanding that make you feel like it becomes harder for you to accept yourself, and then try to find ways to accept that low delay and moving up low level from that what you've reached accepted, try to move up to a level of appreciation. So zikumbuzo, like think about things about yourself that you like. Be mindful of his intellectual that you enjoy.
On that point, before we quit, tell me, what do you like about yourself?
I like my hands. I'm saying class. I like my hands. I like my sensitivity to things. I like that.
What else?
I like the fact that I can write. I think it's magic.
You like your intelligence, basically.
Yeah, I like my intelligence. I like the fact that also I'm able to write. I like the fact that I'm talented. I like the fact that good listener.
You believe you're a good listener?
I believe because the reason I'm a good listener is because I'm able to quote people in share. So I was wanting to get out and find a place for it to rest within me, because listening itself, everybody listens, but no one remembers, and that's the mark of being able to be a good listener. When you're able to take what that person is saying and find a place for it, then you truly listen to that person. Otherwise, it just
so what it's say your intelligence and
my hands.
What you think? Try and find one way that can combine it. If you say your hands, you mean your physical appearance.
Yeah,
we like that approach. Was born you have a kid. No, that's confidence. Cool.
What do you like about yourself?
No, before the win. Or what is it that you don't like about you?
What is it that I don't like about me? Okay, first.
Nah, you see now that's a problem now.
Why is that problem?
Because now you the reason you're saying that it's because you don't want to think about that.
It's about the idea of like it's like maybe she look like good and bad. It's good and bad. It's like it's a tricky thing because you be tied up and messed up into it. So nobody should accept it. So it's like there's thing you born out with some okay. But these are qualities. These are qualities. Yeah.
It does exist though, good and bad. It's just that
the thing is isn't to become what isn't to have their own nature. And then Tina, as humans, because we're always trying to understand things, we attribute amakam so, and then we say this thing is bad, this thing is good. It's like, for example, let's say poison ivy. Poison ivy, if you eat it, is
what is poison ivy?
It's a plant, right? So if you brush up against it, if you eat it, it's rash and stuff like that, so you can't eat it. But it's if you extract certain chemicals from it, it can be used for medicine. So poison ivy is bad, and then poison ivy is actually good for you. That's the trick with saying something is good as bad. You don't understand its nature. So it's bad, but you don't understand the nature of the today. So when good and bad does exist, it exists according to where your own perspective, but in its nature. Everything is just the way it is.
Let me try and make this.
Try and make it clear. Decide if it's good.
So, bad. You know what's it? I didn't ask you what's bad about you. I said what you don't like.
So that I can get to where I am.
Okay. The thing is, there could be something good about you that you don't like. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm trying to avoid
okay,
like
so give me the other side. Give me the other side.
Yeah, trying to divide myself. There's certain things that I'm learning to accept.
Exactly. Give me. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, because don't like is something else. It's almost like
right?
You're
trying to evolve from that type of behavior if it's a behavior.
Yeah, so I don't want to see myself. I don't want to see myself like that.
Okay, give me things that you want to evolve or change or whatever.
I want to accept, not evolve. Or
accept,
change. Yeah. Okay. What could it be? I have an issue with silence. I need to be able to accept being like. I always have to do things. I feel like if I'm not doing anything or like go through like mini states of like anxiety. I always feel like I have to utilize my energy. If we're clearing into Luto, or if there's something that I haven't done, like my value goes down. So I feel like I'm constantly measuring myself against what I'm producing and what I'm doing. And if clearly I become hard on myself. So I need to be able to accept those moments of quietness. Yeah.
That's interesting because it's quite the opposite. I don't know. I enjoy when there's nothing happening. I enjoy being by myself. I enjoy silence. Like tranquility.
That's what
is the goal.
Pushes you to think you need to move forward. How do you accept?
No, I won't lie to you. That's one thing I always try to achieve whenever I'm in a situation. Can I get like 5 minutes by myself? Oh yeah. That's why sometimes it gets tricky when you're in a relationship and you're with someone and they constantly want to be I'm like, okay, I can understand your side. But mind can you only get you 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Be by myself, and because I enjoy discovering me. Like, because you always learn about you every time.
What do you think makes someone have that?
What?
constantly wants to be around you? What do you think causes that?
Yeah, it's uthando, it's something I enjoy when I see from far, and it's one of those things where we're like, yeah, I want someone. Usually happens. I want to speak on behalf of girls, but it usually happens when a female will be in a situation where I want this type of guy. I want this type of guy. I want this. I want someone who constantly texts me and whatnot. And then you get that, and it gets a bit annoying. I'm like, okay. But now that's usually because if you're the one who's giving more love, then they are actually giving you love. There are certain things you have to understand. There are certain things about Zozenza that would come naturally, and there are certain things about Zenza because it's just the fact that they don't love you as much as when you love them. It's something that you have to accept, which gets a bit tricky. Because if you love someone, you expect them, which is my expectation, you expect them to treat you the way you would treat them. But now, if the scales are not balancing from the start, you know, they are not actually into you as much as you are. So getting to a point where you have to accept that, you know what, there are certain things as well that might seem like, okay, this is a bit too much. Oh, but now you have to make a choice. Are you letting that person exercise? Because it's going to become a habit. Let me tell you this thing. I used to have a chick. She was older than me. When was it? A few years back.
What was like the age difference?
I don't know. I think 3 years or 4 years. Wasn't that much. And she used to do this thing at the beginning of our relationship. She would say every time you drop a call, I love you. Let me tell you that thing. When it happens, you'll be like, nah, I think I should do today. It's something that's gonna pass, and you let it go. In fact, now you play along. I'm like, okay, cool. And then, 8 months is too much. 6 months into a relationship, you have made that a habit. With every time you speak to someone, every time you speak to her, every time you drop the call, baby, I love you, okay. Here's a call comes, you with guys. Oh, you basically, also cartel. Same cartel, it has nothing to, no, you cannot change your habit. You can, but now you have to understand about the consequences.
When I learned to lay, hey, I love you.
Not necessary, but the thing is, no, honestly, that's why we are. The thing is, it's about habits. My habits can get a bit tricky, because when she's doing that at the beginning of a relationship, it's a choice. It's a choice I made. I was like, okay, this is gonna become a problem. Sometimes you make those type of decisions unconsciously. We're like, okay, Konezo drop a call. Let me just say, because it's Zama who created that bond, yana. And then when it gets too much, I'm like, I can't say that. Well, first thing, I take call go to for whatever reason, there could be something else because I answered we in a relationship.
But we know.
Yeah, but now you made her feel that's because my thing. Most of us are when you say certain question marks now. You are and then it becomes another problem. If they're insecure or late. Yeah, but now why are you choosing to say that now? Which is that's the big, yeah, that's about you. But mind you, do you realize the circumstance, the outcome the effect you're having on me? Because I'm used to doing that. That's the insecurity part of someone that usually plays into that. You have to accept that, and it's even more if they're the ones giving you more love. So you have to get that. Okay, it's cool. That's gonna happen. So I prefer peace, and then what else I like about me, since we're speaking about this Itanda, I always like to look at things from every angle. For me, I don't like making judgment. It's something I've actually taught myself to be at that level. I don't like to place judgment on anything actually, because I don't like judgment on me. That's the relationship, the relationship part, having a relationship with you. I don't judge myself, basically. So when I don't judge myself, I don't expect someone to judge me. And then I don't expect myself to judge other people. So but now we human beings, we've been conditioned to think a certain way. So that's going to naturally happen, but it's something I can try not to do. So I'm slowly getting there, but it's intense. I can tolerate intensity. Patience, it's my thing. Patience, anger. You hardly see anger, but that's a bad thing. I try not to get to that point, so I can handle the anger.
Sure.
For me, that's a good thing and a bad thing about me. I don't like that. I like it and sometimes I don't like it. So, make something positive.
Why don't you also take it list the things you like?
Yeah, well, then I time. There's a lot I don't like about me, but I don't like. I learn to accept, but sometimes I need to change certain things. I enjoy, like I told you. Usually, my strengths are usually my weaknesses. I enjoy being by myself, but sometimes that gets a problem. Sometimes becomes an issue where I usually take that even in my relationships, where sometimes we didn't go again, but sometimes you don't need to be by yourself. Sometimes you need people around to help you get through certain things, certain emotions. I don't allow anyone to just be in the vicinity or whatever. I don't let that. Not anyone, just me being this close to you in terms of how we've been for the last few months. It's something I don't usually do with people. I don't know why, but I can understand. You see, I'm trying to keep a distance now. I have this shell I have because I don't want anything affecting me. So with that, I can understand why I do it, but it's something I need to learn to have a flow, to actually not to be stagnant. Imagine, this is how I am. I'm trying to change it. Let's say, what else? For now, that's the only thing I can think of.
Because I think that ohlala ucabange ngayo isikhathi esiningi into oyibona when it's happening.
Yeah. While you were speaking about Yonto, I was thinking of a story in about the jealousy in my relationship. Because jealousy, it's a huge part. And it's a bit tricky because people will be like, jealousy is not needed. I'm like, jealousy is something that should be there. Because messing a cycle is like, come on now, do you care or you don't care? So, yeah, because imagine, Engasa show any bit of.
It's because they don't feel like they need to compete with anything. It's about
jealousy.
Jealousy is disalignment with yourself. That's what it is. It's because ngeke jealousy. Because jealousy comes from the place of like ngathi wena khona into mhlawumbe uzoyithanda ngalomuntu okulomuntu mina enganayo. It usually comes from comparing yourself with someone else and then see yourself lacking, or being afraid or insecure about that thing or that person. And then that's where if you got jealous, it's okay. What are you not getting?
Is it good for a relationship?
It's not. Forget about the relationship, the person itself, because the relationship starts from the person itself. That person is in disalignment with themselves because they're not.
Okay, hold on. Let me try and do this. If you say they disalign with themselves, what exactly do you mean there?
When I say they disalign with themselves, I'm trying to say they are not in connection with they're being judgmental about themselves.
Okay,
that's what I mean.
So they bring judgment, they analyze themselves.
And then they're not looking at themselves.
Comparing themselves.
Yeah, they're not looking at themselves in a light way.
Do you think like that?
No, it's not akusinto obakuyona. It's not like this is who you are in your nature. Into eyenzakalayo. So aligning yourself is like a process. We are in alignment with yourself and we disaligned with yourself. Into eyenzakalayo.
How do you achieve that?
Alignment with yourself.
Like tools, the actual tools. If you think of tools.
Okay. The way that you first feel disalignment is your emotions. Your emotions will tell you where you are in relation to everything. So a tool to actually kind of be this, because when you are aligned, you are more appreciative of yourself and the environment around you. Appreciation becomes the key word. So to actually try and be aligned with yourself, it's okay, let me make an example with jealousy, right? So when you are jealous, you are disaligned with yourself. So that means your thought pattern have moved in a negative route whereby you judge, you think you're lacking, you think this person is gonna probably cheat on you with that person, or some loser. Those kind of negative, none of those thoughts are good. All those thoughts are like in a different route. So it's like from that route and then jump back to you are but those insecurities, and then you say hi instantly, because you have kind of set momentum in this direction. It's like ham. You so may slow it down and forward reverse and then go back. So even with this alignment, when you are disaligned, you already started the momentum in a certain direction. Now you have to come back to being aligned. So the one thing that you need to do first is slow down that momentum in that direction. So the way that to slow down the momentum will be with jealousy. It's like, but we've been together for a long time. About myself, I know what he appreciates and can't be compared to that person. We have a bond. But you're slowly kind of getting yourself from all those negative thoughts that you are in to try and slow down the momentum to the point whereby you're so comfortable, man, you accept what he has in. Actually, there's certain thing from this person that I can't give. But that's fine, because whatever I can give him, and it's going to keep us. This, whatever it is that they're getting from this person, is not going to jeopardize our relationship. But when I say accept, at first you were angry by the fact that this person is giving you something that you can't give. Mind you are actually accepting that. So you became aligned, man. So like you're full of yourself in a sense. So comfortable with where you are. You don't have to try and compete. But when you disalign, you're trying to compete with everything and everybody. But when you're aligned, you are comfortable. You're at peace with yourself.
Because of time, let me give you my side. Jealousy for me is something. It depends on the relationship, and it depends on the dynamics of the relationship. Sometimes it's needed for certain things, and sometimes it's not. Too much of it. This is what I usually say. Too much of anything is usually a problem. But usually sometimes a thing. It even goes with drugs. Certain drugs or anything you do, you overuse. Everything you overtake. I don't know if there's a thing. No. But anything you overuse becomes an issue. So with jealousy, it's good in fact to see. Sometimes you feel like, because it's usually jealousy indicates you care about that person sometimes, and then you don't want anything to affect and doing, and then but too much of it goes to the side of insecurity. You're a bit insecure now, so you think I'm gonna leave you, and you're not comfortable with who you are, or Tembi, whatever. You could have issues before my relationship. People will go out to Tembi, then they betray you or whatever. But if it's not there at all, I don't get jealous that much, but I get like, okay, why you to behave I question in their name, but I'm not gonna put on like, well, okay, I'm not gonna assume. That's why I'm not gonna assume that your behavior is motivated by one or two. I'm gonna ask you, and then from whatever answer you give me, I'm like, oh, okay, no, she's just being the type of person. Oh yeah. But then when you date, because usually there was an argument, an argument with my
chick?
Where she basically mentioned in the Bazoguti, she mentioned in the Bazoguti, I act. I'm trying to think. Did you that? But she.
I like it crazy.
No, what I want to say, because to make the point a bit clear, the point I'm trying to make, we see, every time it's argued, I don't usually show the anger level for whatever reason, and every time you come over for my guy or my side, I don't usually act like a guy because I'm a bit sick. I would say I'm secure with myself. So even if a guy is making a move towards her, I don't get that. I usually look at when person in the eye, how you react. Then from there, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, you're falling for this, and then I get a bit. So there was an argument really there. I'm like, oh, you actually care, as in like I'm showing, because I was showing a bit. I'm like, what's happening there? And you're like, oh, you actually care, because before I wasn't doing that, because I was like, I don't need to do that, because she's on that angle or usually. So I'm like, let me show what there's another side you can do it, basically. Not to get clinging and suspecting everything now. Ask the person what's happening. And then from that reaction, are they trying to hide something, or are they giving you like, you caught me type of reaction? Sure. So that's how I'm usually am. And like I'm usually am when it comes to my jealous. I don't get jealous. I suspect from your reaction. I'm like, why are we excited? I don't know if that's jealousy. Maybe it's on a smaller scale. But let's do this. Let me do a poem, because it's a poetry.
Okay.
Hopefully it's a because we on relationships. But now this relationship, it's a bit tricky, because it's my friend zone. You know when you find friend zone? Friend zone is also a relationship.
Tricky.
It's also a relationship. My mind is saying about the friend zone. So with this chick, she put me with friend zone. It's smooth. It's the smoothest friend zone you can ever think.
Papa Musugion.
Yeah, like, oh shit. I'm here now, okay. And then you have to make a decision. It's okay, am I still proceeding with this whole thing? But mind, it's actually, and she gives you those indications, like, relax, there's something, there's a potential.
Shine hope, okay.
Shine hope, going big. So, on Shine Hope, we went to, I think that was the longest, I don't know, shade, I would think, 6 months. I think it was 6 months.
Oh, look at the
Shy visit me. Bringing it. Hey, rest. So we're like thinking, there's something she's gonna bro. And then that's when you have to realize sometimes usually people have asked for that. So you could be there wasting your time. But why she has no clue what she really does. It's something I had to accept that.
Before you do the poem, what got to the point whereby like I know we're done?
No, it's and the part in the show would say I like to look at it from all angles. So I ended up reaching the point the bone would say, no, I asked her for him to funa. She doesn't really know what she wants. Sure. Like she thinks she does from the way she's doing, because one day she'll tell you, yesterday I almost said yes to our relationship. I'm like, okay. Because if it's a shock, you're making me think. I'm like, at first, that's going to come as a shock. Okay. But mind you, I think she did that like 2 times or 3 times. I can't remember. I'm like, what else? So let me just accept that missing girls on, and then probably along the ride you're gonna find someone who's, because she was in the church thing, but she wasn't deep going on.
Artist.
No.
My artist.
I'm a motivational speaker. For my church, she's there, mom from this. She knows it. Anyway, so she gave me that, and then I came up with a poem. my crush, because that's when I learned to a crush can only last for 4 months apparently. If it's longer than 4 months, could be a potential love somewhere there. Sure. But usually if my 4 months, that because from there it was 6 months. I'm like 6 months, man. Now I'm more upset than I am in love, I think. So I came up with a point. Now, let me say this. I prefer Sishaya like a friend. Okay, it's cool. So, my crush left me crushed. It's so cool what you're doing. You ask my name as if you didn't know it already. You just want to hear me stumble and trip all over my own voice. What it feels like my tongue is wrapped around my own ankles as if I'm a 3-year-old learning how to swim. Somehow that I'm used to though. That I profuse my love to you without saying a single word to you. Somehow it hurts though. That even after all those endless, meaningless visits to your room, I was still just a fool that didn't know the right broom to use so as to sweep your soul off your feet and put it inside a balloon and let it float until it reaches the moon. This is to you, my love tycoon. I wish I could turn the clock back to noon inside the bathroom thinking about how to approach you. See, I had a huge crush on you, but I should have waited for you. Instead, I rushed to gush my words of love on you, of which in return you told me you didn't know what to do with them. But when you finally let our lips speak to each other in a language only they could comprehend, and you felt the moisture of my breath on your neck, wetting your skin, and turning it into glass covered in a misty condensation, having all this silence and spoken conversation would turn your perception of what love really is. So I eased my hands all over your body, leaving you bottomless, leaving you thinking you're under the ocean, making love to an octopus. I thought maybe, finally, I'm the one you would choose. When you listen to our favorite tunes, the blues, I didn't know that the next day you would refuse, telling me you really not a couple, leaving me all confused, leaving me thinking maybe I didn't introduce my feelings right when you, of which now you disapprove of all the goosebumps that made you move without even noticing. At first, I was mad at you, that you do not profess your love for me, but as soon as I realized that it was just a spark with no intentions into turning into a real mark, I decided to put it inside a card and let it bang in the dark like it never existed, like Noah's Ark. You thought you were smart. That's the thing. You thought these feelings for you would never depart, disembark from the soul. You thought these feelings for you were a hallmark, tattooed inside the edges of my skin. See, you weren't really keen on giving me a chance. You just liked the chase. Hence, you used to say, I almost fell in love with you yesterday, which never made sense.
It's good. It's good. It's good. So what you want to say before I ask my question?
What do I want to say?
Yeah.
No, it's one of those situations where you appreciate what it actually happened. Because otherwise this poem, so I've got to that point with whatever happens, I can accept. I'm like, maybe I had to get through so that things was totally art. Sure. So that's basically.
See, to do that,
yeah, bro, you have to.
I don't see it. Noah's Ark never existed.
Nah.
Controversial. Controversial.
Hey, man. So there's.
What's this line? I wish I wrote things down.
It's in.
That instead of keeping inside, you let you feel in discussion. That symbolizes that instead of like like you feel like you said something too fast. Is that what you feel like?
Oh yeah, I realized maybe you weren't ready for the Tando I was trying to give, so I rushed to gush my weight of love on you, of which in return, you really didn't know what to do with them. That's why I came with the idea with it. Sometimes they don't really know what they want. Sure. It's something you have to accept. But for time, bruh, sikhilile the episode.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Sikhilile the episode. Thanks for watching. So we're gonna try and come up with the content as much as we can. The Maktuama obstacles are busy trying to block C-Call. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for watching, if you're watching the episode, and then wait for another one. Next week or next week, next after next week, we're gonna try. So with that, are you sinking? Or are you swimming in the pool of life? Hopefully you are not sinking. But the aim is not to sink, but the aim is to try and float.
Keep your head above water.
All right. Peace out.
It's been good.